A lot of you said that I was talking rubbish and that it was all clickbait nonsense. Well, this is bittersweet, to be honest. Amanda Staveley is leaving the club. Yes, Amanda Staveley is leaving the club. I told you so, is what I should be saying, but I don't want to really. It's a bittersweet moment. It's one of those. But what we will do is go into why I think that might have happened, and the reasons behind why I did the video a few months ago, just to give people an inclination as to what my thought process was, how I think when I look to do these sorts of things, and the research that I do to talk about the things that I do. And I appreciate that a lot of people don't agree with what I say because it's more of an objective view, and it's not Newcastle. As much as I absolutely adore Newcastle, I tend to take a step back and look at things from different viewpoints. Yes, I can definitely go from, try and connect A to B and end up at Z. That can happen. But in this case, unfortunately or fortunately, it seems that I was bang on the money. One thing I would like to say is, Adam, I did enjoy your rendition of the video a few months back after you copied our members video, because I did do a short and a members video. I didn't post it publicly, and the reason that I didn't post it publicly is because honestly I didn't want to cause any sort of fractiousness between the fans, because that happens. I'm not saying that we've got a huge reach, but you can talk about Kieran Trippier's current situation, for example. If you start posting these things on Twitter, obviously you're going to start getting backlash. You start posting videos about things that are, relatively unnecessary at times, and rightly you get backlash. But Adam Pearson took it as an opportunity to go and post something on his channel because it was completely different and there was nobody posting about this. But what he took from it was not that Amanda Staveley would be leaving. He was completely under the impression that she would be staying, that there was no issues, which is fine, absolutely fine. That was his opinion on it, and off the back of that today though, he's posted a video and said that she was always leaving and that she's got no money, which is what we said from the start. So I don't know what I'm trying to say there. It's just like, I guess we don't always post everything that we talk about, to be honest, but I thought I would post this just to give my opinion on what's potentially happened. And if you've already watched Adam Pearson's video, it will be essentially me going into a little bit more detail of what's happened there, I guess. And I'm not saying that he's just got it from me. There were other sources as well posting things on Twitter that obviously drew my attention to these things. What I'm trying to make is that we don't always post everything that we talk about, and and the reason for that is because we don't always know. These are opinion pieces, so we don't really know until we know. So just to make that sure, this is an opinion. I do not know for certain what's going on. What I have done is followed paperwork, numbers, and used critical thinking per se to come to a conclusion. So I'm hoping I've used A to connect to B and got to B rather than getting to Z, essentially, like I've just said. Anyway, let's get into it. So Amanda Staveley brokered this fantastic deal to rescue us from the depths of despair when Mike Ashley was at the helm. What a nightmare time that was, and she was our saviour, absolute princess, an amazing turnaround for the club, and she has been a fantastic intermediary between the fans and the club, and I think that is something that we will miss. However, the more time's gone by, the more I've become frustrated with the stories that have been in the media, and I'm thinking, if I'm not having a opinion of what the Saudis would be like, that they must be frustrated by the amount of times she ends up in some sort of financial quarrel in UK courts with whoever it may be, Mike Ashley, Barclays, and more importantly Victor Estes, which is where I think a lot of this has stemmed from, to be honest. She's reduced their shares from 10% right down to 6% in several increments. Paperwork has been filed to nullify her first right of refusal on shares. What does that mean? That means that when Newcastle look to reissue shares, that Jamie Reuben and PIF get first refusal on them at the cost. She doesn't. She would have to buy in at a higher rate to maintain the shareholding that she's got or increase that. So her only option is to decrease shareholding and liquefy to get cash, because she has none. As others have said in the video, that is correct. Or she's bankrupt, which is what I spoke about 3 months ago. So let's talk about this Victor Orestes debacle in a bit more detail. Again, 3 months on. So, I think it's around 10 to 12 years ago, Victor Orestes and Amanda Staveley partnered together on some financial investments, some of them going very well, some not going so well. Again, Amanda Staveley doing what she's good at, brokering deals. And he came back in May 2023 and issued a bankruptcy petition. And the reason that he did this was that he said Amanda Staveley owed him money, and she had accrued an extortionate amount of interest to the tune of around £36.8 million. Absolutely ludicrous number, regardless of how much money you owe. There's, you know, when we talk, I think she actually owed him £3.4 million. The fact that he was looking for that further £30 million, £32 million in interest was laughable. But he tried to issue this bankruptcy petition, which obviously got refused for that amount, and he continued pushing throughout the courts and wanted to issue a bankruptcy petition for the money that was owed, which was £3.4 million. Victor Orestes is a Greek shipping magnate, a very wealthy man, doesn't need this £3.4 million by all accounts, but decided that it was time to come knocking and get his money back. Now, Amanda Staveley and her legal team were very much under the impression that they would be able to have this bankruptcy petition overthrown. Oh, how wrong they were. What is this bankruptcy petition? What did it mean? So, she owed 3.4 million quid. She was given until April the 22nd this year to pay that 3.4 million pound. And if she wasn't to pay that 3.4 million pound, she would legally have to file for bankruptcy. So liquidate all of her shares across every UK business that she's involved in, and then pay Victor Orestes and be struck off Companies House. No, that's not gonna happen. The Saudis will give her the money. Jamie Reuben will pay. This £3.4 million, we're worth 750 mil, was all I kept reading in the comments. And what I kept thinking was, the Saudis don't care. They're not friends. This is a business. This is a business. So we've got the face of the club, who has had fantastic interaction with the club and the fans, now constantly bringing negative light onto the club and herself with regards to her own finances. Top up with the fact that we're held under PSR restrictions. You know, we're looked at as we can't afford money, we're having to offload players. It just paints this ridiculous picture that we can't keep our finances in order. Lo and behold, Amanda Staveley's team lost, and this bankruptcy petition actually was able to be enforced. Now, in the meantime, she reduced her shares by a further 2%, taking her down to 6%. She initially come in at 10, and she'd reduced to 9 and 8 prior to liquidate cash, whether that was for court costs or whatever, or something to do with the Mike Ashley deal, I don't know, or other previous financial litigations that she's had. In the midst of all this going on, she reduced down to 6%, which we equated roughly. People were talking about, you know, her valuation of her deal was around £30 million. And you look at 10%, we're talking about 1% is 3 million quid. I don't think it was that much, to be honest. But if it was, reducing by a further 2%, she was liquidating about 6 million, of which she sold to Jamie Reuben. So Jamie Reuben has paid 6 million for 2%, potentially. I don't know what the valuation of the shares were. I wasn't looking, but let's just say 6 million hypothetically. She pays off Victor Orestes, pays off a court cost. She's got no money left, potentially. That doesn't happen. The bankruptcy petition goes through. She hasn't paid the money. We don't know. Nothing's been said to say that she's paid this money. Haven't found anything across any documentation to say that she's paid this money. But on the other hand, Victor Orestes hasn't come out and said that she hasn't paid this money, and you know, the UK media and international media haven't got wind of that yet. It may come to fruition that she hasn't, and potentially she's going to be struck off, or she's been given the option to liquidate shares completely before that happens, or this was PIF's plan all along. We don't know. What we do know is that Amanda Staveley is leaving. She had her first right of refusal taken away. So Jamie, Reuben and POF currently were the only ones able to increase shareholding with the business, or when they reissue shares, go out to investors and look to sell to investors to increase sharehold and liquidating more cash within the company, and potentially allowing that cash to be used against PSR or for branding across the world, global branding, global marketing, etc., and increasing merchandise, that sort of thing, and the corporate gravitas of Newcastle United. That is just how businesses work. Now, it's bittersweet, isn't it? It's one of those that, like, I'm a little bit worried now, and I have been. I said last season I was in this predicament where I was really happy with things that we were doing, but I just felt really unsatiated, unsatisfied, because I was like, where are we going as a club? Like, and if we are truly going to be a corporate super club, are we going to be able to keep the soul of Newcastle United? When you get rid of people like Amanda Staveley, who, look, I'll be completely honest, behind closed doors, I've not been her biggest fan. I think when you look at a professional business, and this was after watching the documentary, I wasn't too keen on certain things, but you know, in the same breath, what she's done and allowed us fans to feel and be part of has been absolutely fantastic, and I will love her forever for that. I will. And I do worry that with her going, are we going to lose that little minuscule amount of connection that we started to feel again with the club? You know, it's very much under the hands of PIF and Jamie Reuben. We rarely hear from Jamie Reuben, do we? It's going to be an interesting one, but that said, I truly think now this is the point where Newcastle United are going to start kicking on to increase their commercial prowess globally. And the reason for that is that, and I've said this as well, is that, you know, this is a huge part of PIF's 2030 project. It is. And I wouldn't be surprised if they were here for only another 10-15 years. I said that to Sam a year or so ago. And the reason that I say that is because this is purely a profit-making exercise for them. You know, this is purely about growing their global financial infrastructure. And once it gets to a point where it's unbelievably and undeniably profitable, if we're to achieve the commercial value of £2-3 billion off the back of purchases for 300 million, they won't keep us. Of course they'll look to sell. That's just how it will work. So this isn't a forever thing at all. Not in my opinion, but what it will be is a very exciting, a very bumpy, hopefully successful ride. I genuinely think this is the start of something huge. Not just about spending hundreds of millions on players, but really investing in the infrastructure of the club, the city, which we've already started to see, the global reach of the club, which we've seen season upon season, back out to Japan this year after being to Australia, obviously over to Saudi, America. Like, these are huge things for Newcastle to do, and you can already see the fan base growing. You know, we all complained about the fact there was £110 to buy this shirt. Many of us have gone out and bought it with no complaints. They know that they have a huge opportunity with an unbelievably loyal fan base to achieve something special here. But make no bones about it, it's all financially driven for them. Amanda Staveley, Mehrdad Ghodoussi, I bid you farewell. I'm guessing they will be in and about the club for the immediate future doing day-to-day activities. Thank you for rescuing us from the depths of despair. I truly hope that they are successful in whatever they do. But yeah, I'm not surprised by this. Start looking at Newcastle as a commercial super club at some point, or trying to achieve that, and you need to start thinking about what it is you want from this club, because it's certainly going to change in the immediate future. Take care, guys. It's been Carl, Newcastle Fans TV. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is this a good thing? Is it a negative thing? I appreciate there's probably going to be lots of people talking about whether it's something they're not sure how they feel about it. I get that. But we'll see you in the next one. Like, share, subscribe. Peace.